Hello everyone. Today we'll talk about chapter 8, probability and statistics. So 8.1 is population versus sample in statistics. Okay, so I want to know what those means. First of all, population. Population is totality of all things under consideration. That's basically all the people in a group. So, for example, if we want to do a survey on some sort of behavior for Churchill students, then the population will be all of the Churchill students. All of the Churchill students will be our population. Okay, census. Census is a survey that includes every member of the population. So you want to ask every single student in Churchill. If you do that, then that's census. Okay. Sample. Sample is a portion of the population that's been selected for analysis. So it's a selection of people from the group. So let's say, for example, if you select 50 people from each grade, then that is a sample. Because instead of asking everyone, instead of doing a census, instead of asking everyone in Churchill, we're only taking out 50 people from each grade and ask these people. So these 50 people is called sample. So we've got population, and within population, we'll select samples. Okay, statistics. Statistics is the science of collecting, analyzing, presenting, and interpreting data. And what is data? Data is a collection of facts and figures that's used to summarize information in a convenient form. So you guys will need data in order to analyze and present your finding, right? Okay, so example number 1. You want to know what percentage of students usually bring a lunch versus those who buy their own lunch at Churchill. So what is the population then? Well, all Churchill students, because you want to find the percentage for the students at Churchill. So that's basically all the students at Churchill. So population is all Churchill students. What about a census? Census is to ask everyone. If you ask every student in Churchill, then this will give you the best data. But the problem is to do a census is very difficult and very expensive. Well, it's difficult to find everyone and ask them this question, and it's very expensive as well. And it takes time because not everyone is going to give you the answer within the time limit. Okay, next one, convenient sampling. Convenient sampling is basically ask whoever is around. So let's say you want to know the percentage of people buying lunch or brings the lunch. Convenient sampling may be ask the classmates in your math class, just say for example. But this then will be a problem because what you're trying to find is the information for all Churchill students, but you're only asking the people in your math class. Well, although it's easier, you can see everyone every day, but it's biased. And what that means is that it does not represent everyone. It does not represent the population, in this case, all Churchill students. Well, it just represents what's happening in your class. It doesn't represent everyone in Churchill. Okay. Next one is voluntary sampling. Voluntary sampling, let's say, for example, if you set up a table and set up table, let's say at lunch. And then students stop by and answer your question. That will be voluntary sampling because student volunteer to answer your poll or answer your problem or answer your survey. Okay, this is also easier, but this is also biased Because only the one who choose to answer your survey or who choose to answer your poll will give you an answer. Other people, if they does not pass by your table, or if they didn't know about this, or if they are trying to buy a lunch during lunchtime, so they missed your survey, then they can't answer your poll, right? That's why it's biased. Okay, it doesn't represent everyone in the school. Okay, next one, online survey. Let's say you do a poll on the school website. Well, this one is also easier, but also biased. Why is it biased? Because not everyone goes on to the school website and not everyone is going to answer your poll. Right? So only the ones who answers your poll and only the ones who goes on to the school website will answer that. And so that does not represent everyone. Well, now you may think, well, all of these sampling does not work. So can we only do census then? But you said it's difficult and expensive. Well, no. There is one way that you can do it. That is by random sampling. So you will randomly pick, let's say, for example, randomly pick 100 students from a complete list of students. So you will have a list of all students, and then you randomly pick 100 students. And even though this may not represent the whole population, but this is the best and realistic way you can do it. Okay. And so this is unbiased because you didn't choose a student. You did a random pick. Okay. So it's unbiased. Okay. Next part. Influence on sampling method. So sampling bias, we talked about that already. If you get a sample from the wrong population, or if you favor a particular population, then your information, the information you get will be biased. So just like just like convenience sampling, you ask students in your class only. That does not represent the whole population. It only represents the people in your class. Okay, so that's sampling bias. And then use of a language. So the use of language could affect the answer. Let's say if we ask these two questions. Do you think the cafeteria food is great? Versus how do you feel about the cafeteria food? Well, if you ask the first one, do you think the cafeteria good food is great? Unless it's really like great. Unless it's really amazing, you will say yes. Otherwise, you will say no. Now, when people see no, they will think, oh, then the cafeteria food must be really bad. But is it really bad though? It's just not that great. It doesn't mean it's bad. So that will affect the information. Now, a better way to say this will be, how do you feel about the cafeteria food? Now, people may say, it's good. It's okay. Okay, so they will give you all different answers, and that will give you a better and more accurate information. Okay, next one, ethics. Okay, so using the data for a purpose other than its intended use, that will affect data collecting as well, because you don't want to have data leaks. You don't want to send someone else your data. If that happens, then if people know that's what's happening, then they're not gonna do your survey or do your poll. Okay, privacy. Data information gathered from participants must be used as intended. So participants might give different answers if they think their information is not private. Let's say, for example, having a survey on the number of people who have committed crime. Well, if they think that their information is not private, do you think they will answer that question? It's gonna be very hard, right? Yeah. Next one, cost. Cost of collecting data should worth the effort. So census versus sample. Is it worth the time and money to do a census, or would samples represent your data well enough? So that is a part of the effect. Now, time and timing. Time is how long it takes to do a survey or to collect data. Let's say if your survey is 20 minutes versus a survey that is 5 minutes versus 20 minutes. If a survey is too long, then people may not want to answer it because they thought it's too long and too boring. And so, but if your survey is too short, let's say 30 seconds, then people will just scan through it and give you a random answer. So you want to make the length that's good length for people to do it. Okay, and timing, when to ask, when to do a survey. So let's say a survey asks people how often they exercise. If they conduct the survey in summer, it will be much different if they conduct the survey in winter, because people may like to exercise more in summer because of the weather. It's good weather and it's nice and warm. But sometimes in winter, the weather is not that nice. It gets rainy, and so people don't like to exercise that much. It could be the problem, right? So we gotta be considerate about the time and the timing. And last one, cultural sensitivity. Well, you need to be aware of cultural difference and similarities. Certain topics may be sensitive to some of the groups. So when putting a question with in a survey, you need to be considerate. Okay, so that's it for today's lesson. You guys can try these questions. I know we didn't do 8.2, but 8.2 is very, very much related to 8.1. So you guys can try these questions and let me know if you have any problems.